Hey guys, and welcome to Behind the Bunker, episode 497 here at beautiful Behind the Bunker Studios, podcast number 377. Thank you guys for joining us. This is our weekly paintball show that gets turned into a podcast. If you don't have an opportunity to watch us on Facebook for an hour, you can go and download us from anywhere that you get your better podcasts from, or your favorite podcast from, rather, and find us there. We're also streaming on YouTube, and that's where we continue to stream our after show / podcast. It's me. My name is Todd Ansich. I also have a few other friends with me tonight as well. You're going to see Gavin Sharma from TerraTech Industries. You're going to see Joe Kimson from Flaggertus Paintball. I even think we managed to get Josh Zubizabrickus in tonight. So we'll be having some banter for you guys tonight. Tonight's topic is how can you help newbies at the field? And we're going to be talking to you guys about that a little bit later on in the show. We're going to have prices right. We're going to have some news. We're going to have a fresh vault segment from Joe. And lots more to get to tonight. So stay tuned. So are you guys ready for a show, or what do you think? Yeah. There we go. Oh, where'd you go, Gavin? There you are. Very good.
Playing hide and seek.
We were. So I said it was 497. That means, ladies and gentlemen, the 500th episode is on Monday, March 29th. That's going to start at 8 p.m. or shortly thereafter, and that's going to be on Facebook and YouTube Live, and then we're also going to obviously have that as a podcast. One thing I want to tell you is I have a box to the right of me from Planet Eclipse, and it's chock full of giveaways. So on that night show, we're going to be asking you guys to either answer questions or like and share or do something, and you guys will be qualified to win some stuff. And it's not something that some of the stuff you have not seen before, and some of it you will never see again. And you'll know about that when we get to the show. And lots more. We'll have some more surprises and things coming up. We do a best of clip show with a montage, but we don't have anything really good to share. So, yeah. Gavin, what are we wearing that night? Are we going to do something fun?
Something festive, I think. It is a formal occasion. 500 episodes. That's that's not just a exceptional tiger stripe hoodie, which is available from Behind the Bunker swag shop. We're gonna have to make it a little bit more formal, I think.
I think so. Josh, you made us ACU bow ties and pocket squares, didn't you?
Yes. When we wore tuxedos.
You make us multicam. What about all-terrain tiger stripe? I have a couple cut-off pairs of pants.
I probably could.
Yeah. Or is it because
that's probably enough. A couple of legs.
Or is it more of a hoodie kind of night?
I would wear a hoodie. How about Hawaiian shirts?
Tiger stripe hoodie.
I think every night's a Hawaiian note. Here, I just found the image. So this was our 250th episode. And there we go. We just basically wore fancy attire. I wore a fancy shirt, as did Joe. And Gavin wore a hoodie.
I think I was rolling in from work, and I just grabbed whatever I had in my vehicle at the time.
Yeah.
Can we wear fancy shirts?
We could wear fancy shirts. Unfortunately, I don't think we're all going to be in the studio together that night. I think it'll still be a Zoom show, unfortunately. Oh. But whatever. At least we're still, able to put on a show.
Friends.
So I do want to say that we were chatting off air a couple of weeks ago about being the 500th show, but Behind the Bunker has done well over 500 shows. So that is 500 Monday broadcasts, right? So that's not including the Paintball Extravaganza, the Pack Show, all the event shows and stuff like that. So this is just 500 Monday nights that we've got together. So I'm pretty excited about that. So although it is a milestone in terms of the regular Monday show, Behind the Bunker has been an institution, and we've been around for a lot longer than just 500 shows. So I'm pretty excited about hitting that milestone, and I'm hoping you guys are excited to join us on this this journey for the next 500 after that.
Yeah. And
Joseph has the floor.
I have a question. Josh, I have somewhere tiger stripe material, not ripstop, but the cotton twill, like my tiger stripe that I got from the original. So this is vintage stuff, probably 25, 30 years old. Mm-hmm. Could you make Hawaiian shirts for us? And I also have the original buttons from the original authentic Vietnam era buttons on the Tiger Stripe, could you make Hawaiian shirts? And how much material would you need to make Hawaiian shirts for each one of us?
That's a good
With a little
question.
For my lighter.
And a what? A little pocket for your lighter?
Just like my shirt.
I think it would at least be 2 meters per shirt.
Because we'll see.
I'll have to find out.
Okay, that's fine. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to derail everybody.
Well, I think I think it's an important thing.
This is important. Yeah. And I'm assuming you want like short sleeve Hawaiian style, right?
Short sleeve Hawaiian shirt that we were untucked, but man, they would look really good at those Vietnam era buttons and stuff. And a little lighter pocket, customized, modified, tricked out. Custom.
I'd prefer a long sleeve Hawaiian turtleneck.
Oh, good for you.
I would like a banded collarless shirt, if I could.
Jump in a Hawaiian volcano with your turtleneck.
Oh, don't wish me death, Joseph.
Turtleneck?
That was harsh.
Oh, boy. I am taking an opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to share this to all my paintball friends. I've shared it on my personal Facebook page, and there's a couple of groups that I belong to as well. So if you guys want to do the same, by all means.
Jesse Day said we would need 1.5 yards per shirt, probably. I don't know if I have. I don't know how many meters I have. It's a piece.
How many yards do you
pretty
have?
Big piece. That would be 6 yards, right?
Yards.
1.5, 3, 6, and then if we had enough, we could make Matt one. But I do have some material because I was going to get a Tiger Stripe flight suit made at one time in my life for when we played down pilot at the outdoor field.
If you don't have enough, we can always make a belly top for Matt.
George Hay has a good comment. He says, what about rompers?
Rompers are a good idea. And speaking of George Hay, when I was working at Chicopee on the weekend, there was this croc, a lone croc laying there that people kept walking over. And I wanted to take a picture and say, what a croc. But then I kept chuckling to myself because every time I walked by, I was thinking, George Hay only has one shoe. George Hay only has one shoe. Then it was gone the next day and it was in the bush. So it's like this traveling croc at Chicopee. And I just kept thinking, what a croc. And I wanted to take a picture because it would have made a good picture on my Facebook. But that's all.
I missed the George Hay. Maybe we'll see him this year when all this nonsense goes away. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, a couple things in paintball. I want to tell you guys about the 2021 event schedule for the NXL. Has been up for quite some time, but Dallas is just around the corner on March 19th to 20th. Make sure you guys get sorted out on that one. Then it's moving on over to Kissimmee for event 2 on April 30th to May 2nd. So very cool. Be nice to see how those turn out. Also, guys, head on over to paintball.media and check out The One Question. That's the new that's a new issue of the online magazine for March. So go on over and check that out. Last week we were talking about our bells, and Joe Strayer sent this in. He says, not a question here, but here's a pic of my dinging apparatus. Very good.
Ding machine.
And that's from Beardy McBeardington on our YouTube chat. So thank you, sir. I saw that before the show and it made me smile. Shortly, we're going to be talking about some of your mail-in questions. If you guys have any questions, by all means, post it up in the chat, and hopefully we can try to get to them a little bit later on tonight. Joe, are you ready to play your vault tonight?
Yes.
Why don't we do that? We'll play Joe's vault, and we'll get right into mail time as soon as we get back, guys.
Hey, it's Joe from Flaggers here with another segment of From the Vault, where we go back in history, back into the early days of paintball. This week is no different. Today we are going to explore the early days of the paintball squeegee. These, by nearly 2 decades, predate the Exalt barrel swab, which has become the preferred barrel cleaner of the paintball industry. So this would go down your barrel, and then you would extract this, and then these small little tongs would open up and you would pull it out of your barrel, extracting all the broken goop. Then it would retract back down to its normal size. Then you would store it in a compact leg sheath, belt sheath, somewhere for the time you need it. Some guys would wear these around their neck, but it's pretty long. It's like trying to run around with a broom. But anyway, guys, you've been watching From the Vault. We'll see you next time on Behind the Bunker. Pew pew.
that was pretty neat. When I pulled that out of the bin of 62 caliber pistols that I have, that squeegee was, I started looking at it. It's made of a solid piece of aluminum tube, and then it's crudely done. It's probably dremeled by hand for that piece that slides up and down. And then I found an O-ring in a Proto Matrix 5 kit that would fit on, and it's just the way that paintball has come in the nearly 40 years. I remember the very first squeegee that we ever had when we were using the Mark I Uzis. I took a wooden dowel, notched it, and took a sponge and tied it on with a piece of dental floss so we could somehow swab the broken paint out of people's guns. Then I found a shotgun swab that would work, and we used that. And then eventually squeegees were made. Like, that was the first sort of mass-produced sort of squeegee that was made, and then Straight Shot came out, basically the same thing, but made out of plastic and didn't weigh a lot, and if you fell on it, it wouldn't skewer you. So and now we're at the folding Exalt barrel made. So it's kind of cool where things have come along.
Yeah, it's such a simple thing. Like, you look back at what Joe just showed, and there's a mechanical aspect to that thing where you now look at an Exalt squeegee made of fabric, how much better it is. Who would have thunk back then, right? Like, that's all you had.
Yeah, it's all we had. That was it. That was the shit. But I'm looking through old paintball magazines, and just some of the things that you can get, like gravity feed tubes were the thing. Before hoppers were around, it was a gravity feed tube, and then there was the debate, constant air versus 12 gram.
Right.
Who would have thought constant air? People would be debating whether, no way, we can't use constant air. That's not paintball. Blah blah blah. Or I guess it would be splatball at that time, or adventure games. No, you're still war games. So it's neat. It really reminds me. Then you look back at these magazines and you remember that Nightline special with Bill. What is his name? Bill Walters or something, or Ken Jennings, or I don't know his name. But that Nightline special where they did on paintball. Way back at SC Village, man, that was great with the helicopter. It's on YouTube. People should watch that. It's a pretty cool watch. It goes way back.
Hey, Joe, they're talking in the live chat about your Jeep. Maybe one day you can widen the camera angle and do a vault on your Jeep.
I can do something on my Jeep. And
then maybe there's an M151 at the field that might be a good vault one day as well.
That is my M151.
What is the Deuce then? What do you call the Deuce?
Deuce an M35A2 Deuce and a half.
I've never been good with my alphabets. And then you have an ambulance and a bunch of other stuff.
M37 ambulance and a radio truck, but they don't run. My Mutt is actually the predecessor to the Humvee, so it's made by AM General, 4-wheel independent suspension, but they're pretty cool. So yeah, we could do a vault on my Mutt. Military utility truck tactical 1/4 ton. That's what MUT stands for.
There you go. And this time of year, it has built-in air conditioning.
It does. It's in my garage.
Your car hold?
My car hold.
Garage.
My garage.
Joe used to smuggle counterfeit jeans out of there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, why don't we move over and give Gavin a little bit of time to shine? Gavin, you ready for some mail time?
Mail time.
Mail time. Mail time. Mail time. The mail's here.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's mail time, the time where I get to rip open my sack and read some of the correspondence that you, my friends, have sent in, because these are burning questions and you need some ointment for it. We are the ointment. So the first question comes to us from Zane in Zane Zaniac Smith, and he wants to know, as we, brackets Canada, come out of winter and hopefully COVID, is there any recommendations on what you should do to our markers to get them up and running for the season, i.e. cleaning, lubing, etc.? What should we do with those markers in bins and bags?
Yeah, maybe I'm not the one to ask because they're still sitting in bins and bags.
Well, if you stored them properly.
They are. They're in a bag. Or a bin.
Bin or bag. Like, where else are you going to store it?
Exactly. A bindle?
Tupperwares?
Yeah.
And a drum of oil?
Well, maybe you guys are different.
Transmission fluid in them. They'll be fine.
Yeah. Maybe you guys are different. The guns that I own, typically, you just pull out of your gear bag, air it up, and 99% chance that they're going to work. You might have the odd battery if you have a gun that, requires a battery, but I don't store my guns with batteries in them anyways if I know I'm not going to play with them for a while. I usually put them back in the remotes and stuff. So I don't know. Do you guys do anything to get your guns ready for the season?
For me, not so much, but you bring up a great point. If you have a battery type gun, just do a quick inspection to make sure there's no corrosion or leakage or the wiring looks okay. But other than that, I think it's just some lube. Lube, baby, makes everything better. So as long as the O-rings are fine, then I think that's all you need to do. I think people are chomping at the bit to get out, and I get that. I am too. But whatever you have done, assuming you didn't throw your dirty gear into a bag or bin at the end of the season, if you cleaned it properly, then it should be good to go.
Oh no.
Gavin is chomping at the bit, kind of like French lick. La, la, la.
That is it's a suburb of French Lick.
La, la, la.
That's their restaurant area in their town in French
Chomping
Lick.
at the bit in French lick. That's awesome.
Yep.
Oh boy.
Any other thoughts?
No.
I'm a little bit weird about this, but when I found out we won't be playing for the rest of the season, I actually took all the springs out of my mags for my TMC, and they're just laying out on a shelf.
Huh.
So I'll have to put them back in. But
So here's the question, and I asked this a couple years ago, and I still hear answers going back and forth. But for like a real gun in the real gun industry, the argument is, do you keep your mags loaded or not? And the concern is the wear on the spring. But from what the general consensus in real steel is if you're constantly moving the spring, stretching it either way, that's where the wear comes. If you leave it packed or leave it relaxed, it doesn't change the anatomy of the spring.
So
I don't know if I believe that, but that's...
I've heard it from a couple different viewpoints. I know a couple of police officers will switch out mags every once in a while and clean them because it sits on their hip often and it fills up with dust.
They're just not shooting enough.
Okay.
And then a lot of people that do like a concealed carry, well, it's the same thing, right? Because it might not necessarily take their concealed carry and go to the range all the time and clean it and all that, because then they have to.
They're not allowed to. Ontario officers can't. You're right.
Yeah, they're quote unquote range guns, right? And then some people will say, "Well, only put 3 in it and only do that." But it's like, I don't.
Yeah. Well, look at your phone. Take it out of your pocket and look at your charge port and tell me it's not full of, pocket surprises, right?
It's got bits of M&Ms in it and bits of Smarties and bits of Reese's
Just look at your belly
Pieces
button.
and-
Same thing.
Yeah, I have a
can't see
jar.
my
M&Ms in my belly
I
button.
have a jar that I keep all my belly button stuff in. Oh boy. Yeah,
So-
got derailed there. Sorry.
But,
No, it's fine.
But TMC mags, different springs than real steel, right? They're not nearly as strong, and they get bent, warped, and twisted easier, right? So
Yes.
I don't know if it does anything or not. I'm not about to sit around and figure out, but in my mind, it was like I'm doing something good.
Yeah. Hey,
You know
Dan,
what? You're probably right, Josh, taking them out and cleaning them. I think I cleaned everything before the end of the season. I don't recall, but everything's pretty clean, and I always leave my mags unwound, so they're just sort of not cocked. And then Todd and I have always had the debate, and Gavin, about field guns. Do we leave them cocked or uncocked?
Yeah. And Dan and Hardy in the live chat brings up, he says, take the drive springs and your detents out of your Tippmans for the winter. I disagree. I think you cock the gun, which takes the pressure off the detent or detent, depending on which hemisphere you live in. And then, but then you've got pressure on the drive spring. I get it. But I'm not taking apart 150 Model 98s to get the drive springs out to save the detents. Actually, there's a trick that maybe Joe and I'll do a video someday about. But if you ever want to replace your detent on an A5 or on a Model 98, all you gotta do is cock it back and get a 90-degree picking tool, and you can pick it out and put it back in a matter of moments. So maybe that's what you do in the winter, I guess. Oh boy, I'm just reading through all the live comments here. Yeah, I don't know. Gavin, what are you doing with your guns? Are you doing anything other than just taking the batteries out?
Yeah. Well, I mean, last season was my primary marker with my TMC, so there's no batteries. But make sure the mags were clean and the gun was clean. It's in the bindle and waiting to go out. So I'm not going to do anything other than shoot some transmission fluid in it when I fire it up when we get out there. But that's about it.
Yeah. I'm not seeing anything that we haven't already said in the live chat, so maybe we can move on.
Sounds good. Next question comes to us from Paintball 100. That is his legal name. And he wants to know, when a player is just starting out, what do you believe is the first and most important piece of equipment to buy? So for him, he says the mask.
And
Let's
I think
go around
we'd
the horn
all,
for this one again.
But see, I think we'd all agree with the mask. Let's change his question up, because the mask is by far the first thing you should buy. Let's say you just bought a mask. Now what's the first thing that you should buy? Let's make it a little more interesting. You could do something like what our friend Nick did at the field. He bought himself a 14-inch Model 98 threaded barrel, so whenever he came out to the field, he could take a rental gun and just screw on his own barrel, which would then give it much better performance. And he just wasn't in the market for a gun, so to drop $50 on a barrel was an easier thing to do.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's anyone else? Idea. Sturdy footwear, Joe?
Yeah, footwear is pretty important, especially if you're playing, in the spring or fall when things can be slippery. Sturdy footwear is a good bet. But I also lately I've been suggesting once people buy their mask, like get a little more protection, like a Shema and a pair of gloves, like mechanics wear gloves, or some sort of paintball type gloves beyond our tactical gardening gloves that we sell, and even a swab or a squeegee. Then that gets you, a decent mask. You're still probably in Canadian dollars under $200, probably for combined a mask, pair of gloves, a Shema, and a swab.
Yeah. Well, not everybody's got Shema money. But yeah, that's not a bad idea. There's a couple of things in the comment here. People are saying, it's going so fast. A couple of you guys said pads, like knee pads. A couple of you guys said plate carrier, which I think is a great idea. Any sort of pod pack for me was what I was going to say. Buy yourself your own paintball tubes or pods to carry your own paint in and your own way to do it, whether you want to do a tactical vest or a speedball style harness. But that would be the best thing for sure.
So I'm seeing an agreement with Joe in the YouTube chat and on Facebook as well. And that's not something I would have considered, but I would strongly endorse now. Even after your mask purchase and you're using rental equipment, a good squeegee is invaluable, right? Yeah. It's pretty cheap. You can stick in a pocket, and that will make the difference between accuracy and shooting around corners.
Yeah. Dan Hardy also has a good... sorry, I responded to the wrong person here. Yeah, he said... who just said a behind the bunker patch? There you go. Bob Spicer, buy a behind the bunker patch and you're on your way. Absolutely.
And Bond Chick says behind the bunker hoodie. That is a must.
I'm waiting to hear back from that company, so hopefully by next show, I keep saying that, but by next show I'll have an answer. I was supposed to hear back from them today, but they didn't get a hold of me. And I don't want to rush them. I don't want to sound too eager, otherwise we're going to be spending too much on them. So
I don't know if it's such a good idea if you're just getting out into paintball to admit to watching this show. That might bring up some hard questions you're not ready to answer yet.
Yeah, you look too pro.
Yeah. I'm with Joe in the chat, though. Joe Kimson. Anything Tiger Stripe should be what you buy after a good mask.
Well, you share what he said.
Doesn't matter.
There we go.
I was supposed to, below that was supposed to say Crocs, but it says Cross. But you guys know what I meant.
Sure.
We do now.
Whatever. It is what it is.
Or you go out and you get yourself some TerraTech paint, other one.
Yeah. Socks. Good socks. Then you can wear them all year.
But see, Brandon Page has got you both. He says Crocs with socks. Then you're stylish and functional.
Hey, like listen, did you know you can buy waterproof socks?
Yeah. They're called, they used to sell them called seal skins, but
yeah, so that solves the problem of wearing Crocs in the swamp.
That's true. That picture that I posted the other day on the Flagger Instagram of me wearing my tiger stripe at RLD on like what was likely Canada's first speedball field, but it was made with skids and a few tires. But that's one of the first working semi-automatic guns that was in Canada. Was that 68 Special. But going back to that day, our friend Dougie, we were in a swamp somewhere at RLD, and he got stuck up to his waist, and we had to haul him out. And he was a big fellow, so it took a lot of effort to get him out. But that was a good day. You don't care.
I would stop paying attention.
That's fine. Yeah.
I'm just trying to give Josh a moment to talk, because if I don't, he'll get mad at me.
Okay, well, let Josh talk.
Yeah, Josh, go ahead. It is your segment.
Well, it's Todd's show, so we'll go from there.
All right, can I interrupt Josh and go on to the next question?
Oh, whatever, it's your segment.
Perfect. All right, little Wolfie Critchlow, who has just started playing paintball, has a burning question for us here in Canada. So he says he has a question: why are we not hearing from paintball manufacturers, nor getting their help or support in regards to Bill C-21? So we talked about this briefly on a show a couple of weeks ago. Bill C-21 is the Canadian government's overreach into the firearms industry, which has a direct negative impact into paintball and airsoft for anything that looks like a military weapon or real firearm.
Yeah, and if you guys want more information on what's actually happening, go check out Wolf's video he posted today. We won't get into it too much because we're talking quite a bit about it on the show. But Joe, there's a petition rather that people, I guess not only just Canadians, but anybody can sign, right?
I think you need I believe it's Canadians, but I guess anybody can sign it. There's over 45,000, almost at 50,000 people have signed it. It's about, banning the Canadian government wants to ban airsoft because of the realistic appearance of some of the equipment used in the sport. But what sadly is being missed and overlooked is people talking about paintball and airsoft are one of the only sports that can be played successfully during the pandemic, and there's also all kinds of economic spin-offs as far as employment, spend, taxes. The airsoft fellows, like paintballers, are quite social. They'll go out afterwards to a restaurant or a bar and have drinks and regale each other with their days. So I think there's that's a pretty big aspect of the sport as well, and the tax revenue generated by sales of airsoft gear. So that's something to think about.
And we've done a lot of work. We've talked to a lot of our politicians. Joe's been quoted in the House of Commons when they're talking about the bill. We've been doing a lot of stuff on our end. The only thing we're asking you guys to do is just get out there and sign that petition. If you want to do more, great. But minimally speaking, just get out and sign that petition.
So can I implore them to do one more step, Todd, or a few more steps? So for anybody who is a paintball enthusiast or airsoft enthusiast or a gun enthusiast here in Canada, you got to recognize we are in a minority government right now, and we're likely going to be in a minority government in the next session as well. So this is a great time to write to your MP and let them know where your vote's going to lie. If it's going to lie with anybody who supports this bill, you will oppose anybody who supports this bill, that's great. So you can directly write to your MP. You could directly write to each minister who holds a portfolio that is directly impacted by this bill. And as well, you can write to the shadow cabinets, right? So each party has a critic of each of the industries or each of the portfolios. So you can write to your MP, write to the ministers who hold each of the portfolios, as well as write to each of the opposition parties' shadow cabinet ministers who can also speak to this as well. Let them know, more than just signing a petition, that your vote is going to count in the next election, and it will be against any politician who supports this bill.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gavin, is that something you could maybe do a little bit of research on? I know you're not very busy and you've been sitting in your hammock eating bonbons.
Yeah.
But if you could maybe put up each minister and
So,
then
I-
either shadow minister somewhere, and we can maybe post that. Not necessarily this minute, but
not right now. But yes, you have to remember every party has a critic of each of the portfolios a minister has, right? So the Green Party, the NDP, the Conservative Party as well, because right now the Liberals hold government, right? So you can write to each of those. It could be a form letter, and you can just send it individually. And in Canada, you do not require postage to write to your MP or a portfolio minister, right? You just send it in the mail as is. So letters have stronger impact, at least at this point in our lives, than an email, right? Yeah. They have to respond to each and every one of them. And it's not just a cut and paste form letter or form email response. So let each politician know. And again, minority governments are great. Simply because they require votes. They require that. They want a majority, right? So they want people to vote. So I know our American friends are pretty bored right now, and international as well. But just be aware of what's going on in Canada, because that can slowly trickle over to your country as well. But for all of our Canadians, make sure you write your MP, the ministers who are holding the portfolios, and the opposition critics of that as well.
Yep, for sure.
I took the letter that I wrote one step a little bit farther and stated, like, I will continue to vote against anybody who continues to do this, because I can easily see Bill C-21 maybe not passing, but another 6 months from now there'll be another one, and there'll be another one, and there'll be another one. So
yeah,
I made sure my voice was heard on the next whatever they come up with.
There you go.
All right. So a couple more questions, Todd, if we're not running too long.
Yeah, let's do a couple more real quick, and then we'll shimmy through.
Okay, this one is not going to be a quick one. I'm going to get you guys to breathe for a second, because this is a burning question for our friend John Jones. And we'll go around the horn for this, so be prepared. John Jones wants to know, who are the 3 people in paintball who have been the most influential to you? 3 people in paintball, most influential. I will start with you, Todd. It's your show.
Wow, that's a tough one. I think originally Ron Kilborn was my influence to continue to do speedball and try to seek out that dream. He was a coach of a pro team, and he was known for bringing a lot of new talent into the league. That would definitely be one. I don't know. There was some of my original people I looked up to when I was coming out to the field were the guys that were like the everyday or every weekend players that were way better than I was. I idolized them and sought to be after them. And in the industry, that's a tough one. I don't know. There's no one really in the industry that's, I don't know. That's a tough one. I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave those as my 2 then for now.
Okay.
Think about it.
I will throw to Josh, who's doing some Google searching right now.
Actually, if I can, I'm gonna do a little bit of a cop-out and say that one
Joe,
of the
you're next.
most influential ones for me was not necessarily a person, but Splat Magazine. And specifically the edition that was, I think it was Blue from Blue's Crew, was like jumping over top of a log, looking down and bunkering somebody who was laying down below it. That image really solidified paintball in my mind. And maybe you can throw Recon Magazine in there too with the Spec Op boys. But I would definitely say Tom K. And I'm going to throw in now someone who gets me kind of going about paintball over again would be Simon Stevens.
Yeah, there you go. Wolf Critchlow brought up a couple. Hastings, Mike Phillips, and Dan Colby. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of them in here. What about you, Garvin? Danny?
I want to go to Joe first, who's been in the game the longest.
What's the question?
Who's the most three people you can pick? Who is most influential to you in paintball?
That's
While Joe's thinking, because it sounds like he needs a second. Dan and Hardy says Bud Orr, Bob Long, and Glenn Palmer.
there's the there's there's like your Tipmans, your Bud Orrs, Aldo Perone. He entered with different paintballs. Brad Moss, who started Badlands, he's pretty important. But then there's some of your local, the Behind the Bunker people have been influential in getting people involved and helping keep the paintball community together. Any of the players that any of our field members or the guys that help build our field, these are all people that are often overlooked. Yeah. There's so many. It's like accolades. Like, who do I thank? How do I thank everybody? Yeah. It's kind of impossible, but I just there's been so many people that have been around flag raiders, like Bob Spicer. He started as a 15-year-old kid with his dad playing. Then he stopped playing. Life got in the way. Then he came back to paintball again. And there's all these kind of guys. Wolf, Wolf's done so much for the industry. As well. So there's so many people that have played an important role in.
And the sad thing is too, growth. There are so many important people. Like you just mentioned a person's name that no one would know who he was, but he's had such a pivotal part of his industry in just a small aspect. But there's so many people behind the scenes that even if we start rhyming off names, a lot of people wouldn't know who they were. But the roles that they played behind the scenes are phenomenal. Man, we could talk about these people for hours.
Gino Perone, I remember going to the Brass Eagle or the Exo Paint Factory, in Brampton, and you'd walk in there and stuff would be held together with duct tape and stuff, but yet they produced the roundest ball in paintball ever.
Don't forget clothes hangers.
Might have been some of the hardest paint. Some of the lower end stuff was the hardest, man. But that it was round.
It was unbelievable.
You found a flat surface. That stuff would roll straight forever. Yeah. So there's so many people that are influential.
For me, because it's a personal question, right? To who's most influential to you? Absolutely, Tom K. Bud Orr. And I was grateful to be part of the show where we got to chat with our legends. Yeah. But ultimately, number one in my life in paintball and why I love it and why I'm still here today is Joseph P. Kimson. And I say that with all sincerity. A man who started paintball in Ontario and Canada a couple years after the invention of the sport. But with his vision and how welcoming he is to everybody who shows up at the field, he not only became, an important part of my life because of the sport, but it became family. So I really appreciate Flag Raiders. I really appreciate Joe Kimson and everything he's done for the sport of paintball in Canada and now internationally with this venue as well. So most influential and a big part of my life, and I call him part of my family as well. Joe Kimson, number one for me.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice. Thanks, Gavin.
It was a very Maestro Fresh West quote you stole there when you said he stuck to his vision.
It's funny, though, to think that none of us would be here doing this if Joe hadn't started this as his college project.
But it was the whole, the passion of it, the love of the game, which is really early on, but really helping to grow the experience.
Yeah.
And that's why we're all here. That's why we're all chatting, right? So, I mean, at least us, right? Everybody else, your local field owner, if they're not on your top list in terms of how they got you hooked and how they kept you in the game, you may want to reconsider that, because it's the people who do it on a weekly basis, the Saturdays, the Sundays, the Tuesday nights, who have given all of their love, their family time for the sport that we love. They should be on top of the list.
Your local dealers.
Your local dealers, yes. Yeah, you know what? I had a little bit of the purple the purple Kool-Aid, and it's still flowing through my veins. So I appreciate Joe Kimson and all he's done for the sport.
Yeah. Bob Spicer brings up two other people, Mike Lucas and Richmond Italia. Absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, good for Joe and all. Like, Joe's only been around since '83. I know there's maybe only a couple other fields that are even like that or have been around that long. Yeah. Bob Guernsey, Dennis Tippman, and Bud Orr says Richie Rampage Santos. Gavin, are we done with the questions for now? Can we put a pause on?
Yeah, I bored you all, so I'm going to cinch up my sack, and whatever I have remaining, I will address next week. And if you have some burning questions, just things that are bothering you, please send it to showbehindthebunker.com or post on any of the social medias, and we will address it on mail time.
Or go see a doctor.
If COVID's over, yes, go.
There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, did you guys know Planet Eclipse has more championships, new mechanical markers, new electronic markers, new territory, including the new MagFed division? Get Planet Eclipse, ladies and gentlemen, and take on the world. And I will tell you that for our 500th episode in just a couple of weeks, we have some pretty sweet Planet Eclipse merch we want to give away. So check that out in a couple of weeks for our 500th.
When the world's greatest players, photographers, and expecting parents need the best coverage, most vivid colors, biggest selection, they pull the tab on an EG product. #PopSmoke.
Thick welded seams, stainless steel hardware, multiple color options makes Air-Ups the #1 choice for inflatables on and off the field. Made in America by Brett Davis and his crew. Get airups.com.
Dreams fade. Ruthless paintball products, colors, sublimations, and craftsmanship never die. On or off the field, Ruthless will keep you fresh. Use the promo code BTB15 for 15% off your order.
Adapt, create, and win. Exalt is in our blood. Make your game boil. Get Exalt, available worldwide.
From the beginning, you'd stumble down a rocky cliff or waded chest deep through a mosquito-infested bog. But whether you're sliding into the snake or running and gunning, GI Sports has the gear for you. Now with the new Stormer, Stormer Elite, and Stormer Tactical.
DLX Technologies, true industry innovators with some of the lightest, fastest, and sleekest hardware in the paintball market. DLX has the power to get to the podium, and that's where you guys want to be. And thank you to all of our awesome sponsors. If you guys get an opportunity, please tag them, tag your favorite sponsor while you're watching the show here. Just a reminder, again, in a couple of weeks, let me see if I can find it here, but we're going to have our 500th episode. That will happen on Monday, March 29th, and there'll be lots of fanfare and celebrations for that, so make sure you're here to check it out. I think it's time, Josh, that we talk about our topic at hand tonight. We're going to watch all of you guys in the live chat, so if you get an opportunity to post your thoughts, we'll try to get them on the air like we've been doing with most of you guys tonight. Topic tonight is how can you help newbies on the field? And this is on the field, yeah.
Promise Gavin I'm not going to start off with cancer.
Now, I had you've got a bunch of sheets that they had of people that
Yes,
posted on social media. Gavin, I think I gave you a couple as well today.
You did, yep.
And then Joe, maybe you can watch the live comments in the live chat and see if anybody has some helpful hints there as well. So, guys, we want to know how can you help newbies on the playing field?
All right, so the first one I've got is from Kevin Aitchison. It says, easiest one is don't be a Richard. A lot of jaded people in the sport. Kids don't come back. We spend all day dumping on them. That's pretty much anywhere, really, though.
Yeah.
Jason Diff says, let the kids play on the other team, and then they shoot me. Sticking out wider than he normally does, and any extra gear he has, he's sure to lend it out. Russ Wiggers, I think, has one of my favorite ones. Says, one of my favorite quotes from the Special Ops Recon magazines before they stopped printing was, you can't push a rope. It applies to a lot in life in paintball. So don't force the newbies. Let them play and let them figure it out.
You guys have sorry, Josh. You got a couple good ones coming in on Facebook and YouTube. So keep them coming, guys. Sorry, Josh.
Next one is from Matt Beza. Sometimes I let the young first-time players use my Lux for a game, and then they love it. Well,
how could they not?
Matthew, who wouldn't? Like, seriously, if I find out where Matt plays, I'm just going to tell him I'm new and I'd like to try his marker.
Here's my Lamborghini. Why don't you just give that a try?
Can I? Yeah. Jared Skibo, who's a friend of the chat forum, says, hand them a smoke grenade. You'll swear you just gave them Excalibur. It's not wrong, though. That's true. And then there was a fight in the chat from Richard and Glenn Forrester, which was very amusing, that I'm not going to read dramatically. And then last but not least, I'll wind it up with Doug Walker. By leaving your CS2 at home and using a pump. That's right. if you're going to end up playing with newbie players throughout the day, and you know you are, don't go out there packing some monstrous uber duber super flashy thing. Take a pump out, or actually go up to the counter and play with the same marker they are, to show that it's not about what you're shooting, it's about how you play.
Yeah. Gavin, what do you got?
So just looking in the chat right now,
actually,
and a number.
Sorry, go ahead.
A number of people have said it. So Tommy Guns in the chat: always give them your leftover paint on the way out. Absolutely, a pot or two could certainly make a kid's day, and let them know the community is welcoming and supports them. Right. So, the next one comes to us from Instagram Worlds, and it's the Joda Shark. He just wants to know: lead by example, keep your mask on, listen to the refs, watch your emotions and language, have fun, win or lose, and always show good sportsmanship. And sorry, Todd, you were saying?
No, Joe had his hand up, so.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Steve Meyer, don't kick their hoppers off, of course. Dane and Hardy always have a loaner microfiber. Bobby Dowse, make sure their guns are working. Karen Wright, let them know. I always let them know that I'm a newbie too, and let them stick close to me so they don't feel alone on the field. Good idea. Bob Spicer, empower, teach them, reward, recognize. Someone else mentioned about, let them know what bunkers are good and what to hide behind because every game and every field plays slightly different, although the outcome is often similar, but games unfold and unravel differently each time. So let them know, give them a little bit of direction, give them some pointers, get them to follow you. Be a mentor. Don't shoot them up. Shoot around them, let them hit you. They'll feel pretty good about it.
Be a mentor, not a meathead.
Dwayne King in the YouTube chat says, I help newbies by letting them shoot me. No, you just... Yeah.
That's my philosophy.
Yeah. And first of all, good point about microfibers. We talk about squeegees and all these other great things that have come out for paintball, but the microfiber is the true unsung hero. It's like in every trench warfare, a microfiber is a must. That's something you should have in your pocket or your pouch for sure. And second of all, we're talking about how you can help newbies on the field. I kind of don't like the question because it kind of assumes that you guys as experienced players are playing with rental kids. I guess when I read the question, I'm hoping that people are reading it like if you're playing a large scenario game and you see some newer players playing. I guess that's what I was hoping. But yeah, I'm hoping that when you guys go to your local field that you're not playing with rental kids, if you will.
We often on Tuesday nights, though, at the outdoor field, because we have our Tuesday night paintball, you often get, people showing up and they want to give it a go because they've heard Tuesday nights are fun, or they're just out and about and they want to try paintball. So we often have newbies mixed in. We simply don't have enough, enough players to run two separate games. But, Tuesday nights are good, and it's nice to be able to take a couple rental players with you and sort of show them the ropes, show them the sneaky spots, the neat places to hide where the long grass is, or something like that. It's kind of cool to give them that experience that they wouldn't otherwise find, or get them to lay in the grass with you while everybody giggles as paintballs whiz over your head, then you get up and shoot someone. Like those are experiences that people will talk about.
Yeah.
Well, I disagree with Joe. I wholeheartedly, because Tuesday nights is a different form of paintball. When you get the really experienced players out there, the game flows differently, it plays differently. If that's somebody's first experience, they're going to expect that every time they go out.
Yeah,
maybe,
but I think
you want to create a culture that's going to be inclusive, right? So
it does, yeah. And I've got no problem with it at all. But I was just laughing because I was thinking about playing Tuesday nights during the day today, and I remember, it's a game starts in 3, 2, 1, and it's like where you start off, whatever building you start off in, is instantaneously empty because everybody just leaves, right? Whereas if you play on the weekend, you play with some rental players, like game starts in 3, 2, 1, and nobody moves.
Yeah. True. I think
they're like, I'm going to stay here and hold this building down. It's like, well, there's several others we need to hold down too. But
yeah. I think in answer to the question, one of my comments would be, if you really want to help out a newer player to the sport or a newbie, don't give them advice, don't give them free paint, go with them and play with them and play behind them and kind of coach with them. Just by saying, hey, go take that bunker, it's a really good one. I mean, what's to say that you're just not using them as a meat shield, right? Like,
right.
Be it's like Joe when he used to come out with his son, he'd play with him, take them bunker to bunker, right? I think there's an important thing there. And then people see that, you know, they're watching you and they're seeing the same thing real time. They go, well, there's guys at that building, but yet the guy that's playing with me is sticking his head up, periodically putting down fire and then putting his head back down. Maybe I should do that. So they're learning while you're there. You can only tell someone to do so much, but if you're showing them and working with them, maybe, I don't know, maybe that helps. But sometimes it's fun to take someone that's a little bit younger and get out there and play, you know, I was going to say play with them, but I'm sure that would have got a bell ding.
So Damon Duff in the response has some really great points within his response. So it was treat them like part of your own team / family. Ask them how their day is going, loan them some high-end gear or different variants of markers so they get a feel of what the sport is like above the rental or entry level. And the part that sort of tug at my heartstrings is the biggest thing is to always listen to their needs and provide advice that fits those needs to give overall the best experience, whether it's the first time or 99th time. Yes, don't dictate what they need. Don't dictate in terms of their experience, but help support them on that. So I do. I wish I could like that and pin that. Great response. Thank you for that.
Very good. Do any of you guys have any more comments before we?
I have one comment about your whole microfiber shenanigans.
What is wrong with my microfiber comment?
The greatest invention in the world is whatever was wrapped around the red squeegee. I wish I could get a pocket full of that instead of a microfiber.
Yeah, those were good squeegees.
I don't know what that was. It felt like steel wool. It never scratched barrels. But dang, did it ever hold paint really
but you never have idea, like when you guys are out there, how many times you use that microfiber when you couldn't see out of your goggles and one wipe and you're clean again, you're playing. Like, do you know how crappy life would be if no one ever discovered the microfiber?
Yeah, you'd still be using the back of Gavin's jersey.
But I'm talking
it's like soap and water never existed before.
No, but I'm talking like on the field, right?
Staging area
I'm talking on the field. You've got fog, or you got splatter on your goggles, right? Or you're between games. Instead of having to run back in and use your precious soap and water and your paper towels, the ref comes over and squeegees you. It's like the greatest thing in the world.
No, Joe had a individual Flagwaiters approved spray.
1 minute, I'll be back.
Spray system with a squeegee that was designed for ski goggles.
For ski goggles, yeah. For Oakley, I think
they were called squeegees.
Squeegees, yes. Yeah. And so, there was more steps in the process. So don't tell me we could have never lived without microfibers.
Yeah, but okay, Gavin, I know you specifically when you play in the bush and you're getting shot up and you're just like you're wiping all your hits with the microfiber on your goggles.
God.
I'm just kidding.
Are we talking about Todd style of play?
I'm just kidding. But no, you know what I mean? Like when we play, we go out to a field, we play that match. When you get shot, you go to the dead zone. Then we switch and we go and play the opposite direction, right? Yeah. And it's a foggy night. That microfiber, as soon as you pass one out, it's like the only girl at a sausage fest. Everyone notices. They're like, "Oh, can I?" And everyone starts reaching
Why would
for
you
that.
Go there?
Right? Well, tell me my analogy is bad. Give me a better analogy than that, Gavin.
We're not talking the village bicycle. Come on. It's a piece of cloth, right?
But it's microfiber.
This is what people need. They need this. This is a goggle squeegee. It's like a piece of, I don't know, where's my camera? It's like a piece of windshield wiper material, and you could 3D print these if I had a 3D printer.
You can also teach your young son how to shave without hurting himself.
Then we have the Flag Raider personal on-field goggle spray device. It's got some soapy water in it. You spray it on and just squeegee this off, clean your goggles, then just give it a buff with a microfiber. It's pretty wicked. This is what paintball industry needs. If someone wants to invent something, even if every player doesn't have one of these, every ref should carry one of these, because you could clean up every rental's goggles so they can see more, shoot more, and tell more stories. This is the more.
No. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Are you guys any more points before we move on? Because I think we're going to have to change things up here. Okay, so why don't we do that? Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, if you guys are watching us on Facebook, make sure you guys share us to any of your favorite paintball groups so that they know that we exist. And give us a thumbs up or a like on your way out. We're going to say goodbye to you guys watching us on Facebook, and we're going to continue to broadcast on YouTube for our after show /podcast. And if you're listening to us on our podcast medium after the show, you know this is included, so you don't have to go anywhere. But yeah, that was awesome. I appreciate all you guys tuning in on Facebook tonight. Joe, thank you for being on.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for everyone for watching and enjoying Behind the Bunker. It's Monday night. It's garbage night. Used to be Hawaii 5-0. Now it's whoever else is on Monday night. But thanks for tuning in. We'll see everybody next time. Pew, pew.
What about Garvin Sharma?
Always great to be here, folks, and I sincerely appreciate you guys joining us in the YouTubes and the Facebooks. And the shares. We're close to 500. I'm getting really excited about it. I hope you guys are too. It's going to be a special show. So make sure you share along the week so people know that they can tune in to see a monumental episode in a couple of weeks. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. What about you, Josh?
Yeah, thanks for having me again this week. And don't forget, folks, to help control your local airsoft population. Have your local airsofter spayed or neutered.
Awesome. If you guys are watching us right now on YouTube, don't go anywhere. If you're listening to us on our podcast, don't go anywhere. Guys on Facebook, we'll see you next week.
Don't be a freeloader. If you liked what you hear, make sure to hit the share button below. Also follow us on our social media outlets like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, ICQ, and now MySpace. If you want to join the conversation, post your comments and we might read them on the show.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was a fun show. Let me tell you something. We had lots of content we just didn't get to, but we'll get to some more of that next week, and I know we say that every week, but yeah, that was good. So thank you all. If you guys are watching us on YouTube right now, thanks for sticking around. And yeah, we just like to continue the show for just a little while longer. Last week, you guys, we were talking about what we miss about COVID, all the stuff that we miss doing, and we kind of started waxing poetic about it. I don't want to get into COVID, but I just found a counter argument to everything that we said. I was somewhere this week. I was at a store. I was waiting in line to get in. Someone came up, said, "Hey, Todd, how are you?" "Good." Started asking me questions that involved both the field and the show, and I had a hard time making small talk. And when the person left and walked away, I still couldn't figure out who that was. And these are the things that I don't miss about COVID is the small talk and I'm horrible with people's names and faces, and I don't mean any disrespect. I've always been that way. And it hit me. I'm like, oh yeah, we're going to have to get back to that soon. I feel bad, and if you're listening out there, I don't mean any disrespect. But yeah, those social situations are going to be coming back soon.
And we just lost one viewer.
We did. I can't tell you who it was, Gavin, but we certainly did.
They know.
They know who they are. Yeah. And it's tough because, on social media, you have so many friends on social media that may know you and you may know them sort of, but then when you see them in public, unless you remember their profile pic and their hair's the same way and they're, whatever, it's hard. It's hard to remember everybody. Joe's different. He's the opposite. He knows everybody's face. He knows everybody's names. I struggle.
And what they do for a living.
Yeah.
Yes. It's funny. It's funny. I've been seeing people at Chicopee, and they'll come up to me, and I'm wearing a mask. I have a hat on because it's cold, and my jacket's all done up, and they're going, "Are you Joe from Flaggers?" Because they recognize my voice, right? I had a guy come up to me, and goes, "Pew pew." Like that, and I just because I was awesome. Talking and where I'm working and where I'm standing, I'm talking to everyone and greeting everybody, much like when Gavin and I are at the field on a busy day. But yeah,
okay, Dwayne, I know your name. I've never once called you a wrong name, Dwayne. I know who you are. I may have had to have referred to you as Bag of Chips a couple times, but I know that you are Dwayne. Come on.
Well, Bag of Chips is a lot better than what you used to call him a bag of.
Oh,
you did say potatoes? Sugar, right?
Potatoes.
Yeah. So, anyways, I wanted to bring that up. The other thing I want to say is no spoilers, but if you haven't watched Coming to America yet, well worth the watch. It's not as good as the new one or the old one, but it's well worth watching.
Absolutely, I would agree with you on that. Obviously, the original is always the best. I saw it ear to ear grin. I've already gone into the second watching of it, the viewing of it.
Have you?
Loved it.
Yeah.
So, our friend Joe disagrees, apparently.
I watched we watched Coming to America. It was entertaining. I smiled and chuckled out loud several times.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I guess I wish they wouldn't have shoehorned some of the jokes in that they had to.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But it was good, and I like the cameos that were in it. A lot of good.
Okay.
And the only negative thing is the guy that plays the new prince. I don't like him. I didn't like
Right.
him, and I wish they would have found someone else. But having Tracy Morgan in it was helped that plot line.
So I do want to talk a little bit about the cameos, and I don't know why it didn't happen. Could be contractually or just politically. When they went back to Mighty Sharp, the barber shop, why they didn't have Cuba Gooding Jr. in the chair?
Yeah.
I was either an oversight or they just couldn't do it, because he was originally in the first episode, the first season. Not season, damn it, the first movie.
Yeah.
But he didn't have a speaking role, and it would have been brilliant if they revisited it with him with a little bit more gray in his hair.
Yeah. And we'll try not to do any spoilers for those of you, because not everyone watched it the first week. But we showed my 15-year-old daughter the original one 2 weeks ago, and this weekend we sat back down and on Friday and Saturday, and we finished watching it, the new one, and she didn't know originally in the original movie that Eddie Murphy played all those characters, and on the second one she got it, and it made more sense, but. It was definitely enjoyable watching it through someone's new eyes.
So that's funny, because my little person was wondering who was going to play the old Jewish guy in the barbershop. Had not made the connection that was Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
Just with makeup, yeah.
My kids were playing Xbox and pouting, so it doesn't matter.
There's a good interview by
both of those on Netflix.
No, on Amazon.
Oh, Coming to America's on Netflix. Amazon too.
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't watched either one, so I'm going to watch both of them tonight.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, good for you. How are you going to watch two of them tonight? Don't you work tomorrow?
Yeah.
Well done, sir. All right.
Okay.
Welcome back to our paintball talk.
Yeah, no kidding. Sorry. The talk is everyone's talking about that movie, and it's topical right now, and I'm pretty excited and pretty happy.
You know
about
what?
it.
Do you know what no one's talking about? Disney just put on something called Stars on their streaming app.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, wait, hang on. Let me see if I got that right. I'm pretty sure it's Stars. But it has The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
All of The Simpsons.
Yeah. Now, Netflix will also have all of the Seinfeld, but not for a little while yet.
And all of Futurama and all of Family Guy.
Cool.
Yeah,
I made a mistake.
There's a ton of stuff here.
I made a mistake.
There's 707 episodes of The Simpsons. There's almost as many Behind the Bunkers. You know what I mean? They're both equally as stupid.
But on the note of Disney, I made a huge mistake. I saw that there was a new movie on Disney. It's the new movie, whatever it is, about the dinosaur. And I said to him, we were talking, the family were talking, we were saying, hey, what should we watch? Because lately we've been sitting in front of the TV for dinner. And I said, why don't we watch that new Disney movie? And they're like, yeah. And Corey goes, you realize we have to pay for it? I said, yeah, whatever. What is it, like $4? Like these movies are cheap, like whatever. And I went on there, and it wasn't $4. I had another $30.99 on top of that. And because I had already set it as my bright ass idea, I had to pay for it myself. But
$34.99.
Yes,
to watch a movie.
To watch a movie, and that had no popcorn. Yeah, that's the one. What's it called? Raya.
Yeah, is that because you did not bother to order your popcorn ahead of time? Raya and the Last Dragon.
It was cute, but it wasn't $34.99 cute.
And nobody's cleaning up your mess when you leave, right?
No kidding.
Nobody's sweeping the aisles.
My floor is just as sticky, but I'm telling you, it was.
Todd just dumping popcorn on his carpet in his living room.
Next movie I go to a cinema to see, I am definitely doing that. You happy to be back? I'm buying 2 bags of popcorn just to dump them.
I'm going to sprinkle this one
sodas everywhere.
The hallway.
Yeah.
I'm leaving a trail.
Yeah, I told you guys we ordered movie popcorn a couple weeks ago. It was the greatest thing. I would do that again. Not on a $34 movie, but I would do that again.
Do you think the floors in the movie theater are still sticky?
I know they are.
How can they not be? They're probably
sticky.
worse.
All those starving rats.
Yeah. Before Gorilla made glue, they made flooring material.
Well, now hair products, right?
It's just scraped up.
Yeah. Oh, how could you possibly?
And she runs a daycare.
Yeah. Oh, well. All right. Well, I apologize for not talking anything paintball in the after show, but that Coming to America, if you haven't seen it yet, first of all, watch the first one if you're Zuby. If you're not, watch the second one. It's Josh, I'm curious because you'll be watching them sequentially. I'm curious to know which one you prefer better, because we've all watched Coming to America several times prior to this next one coming out. So
see, and okay, here's the weird part. I don't remember this movie whatsoever.
Really?
But I remember, I know the picture, the image of Eddie Murphy with the chain on.
Yeah.
In like the fur looking cap. I remember that image, but I had no idea it was a movie. I had no idea it was
wow.
Yeah. The royal unit is clean, Your Highness gets used way too often, but aside from that, yeah. All right. Any other further words there, ladies and gentlemen, before we go?
No, we've lost all our viewers tonight, so it's fine.
They're all watching Coming to America.
They're all writing hate letters now.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, thanks again, Josh, for being on the program.
Oh, thank you.
Sounding all fancy-like. And Gavin Sharma?
Always great to be here, folks, and we really appreciate your support. Enjoy the movie.
And Joe Kimson.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you next week.
And don't forget, guys, 500th episode in 2 more weeks. Set your clock, set your calendars, and don't forget to tune in. There'll be lots of prizes and shenanigans afoot. So thanks all for listening. We'll see you next week. Hello and welcome to Behind the Bunker. If you like tonight's show, it is turned into a podcast, and you can find hundreds of them at Apple Podcast or through